Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with a movie review, everybody, and we are going to be reviewing The Batman, everybody. That's right. I went to the showing last night, a pretty late showing, actually, and whoo! I gotta tell you what a fantastic Batman movie this was. It's not a perfect Batman movie, that's for damn sure, and I don't know if it's the best Batman movie on my list. I actually don't think it is, but it is most definitely probably in the top 3 Batman live action movies that we have gotten of the Cape Crusader himself, everybody. So, this movie tells the story of Batman going up against the Riddler, who is a serial killer basically in this movie. They turned the Riddler basically into the Zodiac killer in a way and turned him into a serial killer basically. He still has the Riddler stuff to him where he leaves riddles for Batman and all that stuff. So, before I get any farther, I will not be telling spoilers in this because the movie literally just came out yesterday and today, so people are going to be watching it. So, I will not be diving into spoilers unless it was stuff that was in the trailers that had been released. So, but yeah, it tells the story of Batman doing some detective work and trying to catch the Riddler, who is murdering a bunch of politicians and higher ranking official people in Gotham City to show the corrupt nature of Gotham City, because Gotham City has always been that way in the comics and in the movies, everybody. So this movie is directed by Matt Reeves, and Matt Reeves was the perfect guy to pick to direct a new solo Batman movie after Batflick dropped out of doing his own solo Batman movie because he couldn't get the story figured out. So they brought Matt Reeves on. He has done the previous 2 Planet of the Apes movies, which have been awesome, just great. So when I heard he was doing Batman, I was like, oh, this could be good. This could be really, really good. So the thing that's really cool about this movie to me is that they literally took a character who is my favorite comic book character that we've gotten so many different iterations and different actors and movies playing this character. And after the Nolan stuff, I was kind of like, I just don't really see how they could get more grounded and realistic and dark with this character. But holy shit, people. Matt Reeves and company, they took this character to a different spot and level that we have not seen him in a live action movie. We've seen this stuff in animated movies, and I've read it in comic books. We get a true noir detective Batman movie. Like, literally, that's what this movie is. And it also follows David Fincher movies to somewhat with the Zodiac and Seven. If you watch this, you can see it on the screen that there was major inspiration with the Riddler and Batman doing his detective work, like with the Riddler. You can see that on screen. You can totally see it. It's just fascinating, like how they worked this. And we actually finally got a detective Batman movie. We get to see the world's greatest detective superhero actually do detective work in a movie finally. Like, we got it in the other movies, but it was bits and little pieces, like in those movies. And then it was action, like it was an action superhero movie on top of that. This movie, though, is slower paced with action sprinkled in it. It's the opposite of the other Batman movies where you had more action and a little bit of detective work. This movie is all detective work with a little bit of action sprinkled in, but the action that is sprinkled in, I think, is pretty damn good. So, but we will get to that. So yeah, we finally got, like, I would say, a true representation of Batman from the comics. Like, because I've been reading Batman comics almost my entire life since I was old enough to pick up a comic book. And then in my adult life, reading some of the most recent stuff. I feel like this Batman movie replicates the Scott Snyder stuff that was in the New 52 relaunch of DC Comics. Like, I think this movie represents that Batman amazingly. I think that I got a lot of vibes of Arkham City from this movie, especially from how Gotham looked, because Gotham is a ran down piece of shit city. It is. It's scum. Just not a good city. I don't even know why people live there, to tell you the truth. And man, they freaking put that on the screen. They made Gotham City look amazing in this movie. It was filthy, gritty, dark. Most of this movie takes place in the dark too, also at night, which is fine. It's a Batman movie. But yeah, this Matt Reeves literally was amazing at this. He created this Gotham City and all of the characters that were in it. Just well written story, like seriously. And the way he shoots scenes and gets these angles, it's just amazing. Like, just simple little things like someone standing in an elevator and the door just opens with this shot of them with the background. The guy is great at capturing these fantastic shots, even with Batman. Like, they're just amazing. They're just fantastic. They also freaking the cast. We got to talk about the cast. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling. I had notes written down, but these type of reviews, when I'm really excited about shit, I just kind of ramble. We got to dive into the cast, because the cast was fantastic. Everybody that was in this movie, you could tell they were all in. They were having fun, and they were enjoying playing their characters. Like, you could just tell. And the real cool thing about this is like, all of the characters that are in this movie, like all the mob boss characters from the comic books, the main characters like Selena Kyle, Catwoman, Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, they're all intertwined through the history of Gotham City through certain characters in the movie. They're all tied together to some extent, and it just has this lush backstory with these characters because of this rich, like, intertwined, like, story that they're all a part of. And even though this movie takes place like 2 years into Batman being Batman, he's still very early in his career being Batman, and we get introduced to a very angry Batman. Like, he's low. He's very low at this movie. Like, he's obviously dealing with a lot of emotional shit. He's very brutal, and his Batman is, oh my God, his Batman is tough as hell. That's for damn sure. And his Batman also, so when I critique my actors that play Batman, generally, like if I'm ranking them, which I've done in the past, I always judge how they play Bruce Wayne and how they play Batman. And Robert Pattinson was a fantastic Batman. I love his Batman. I love the way he walks, the way that literally the first scene that you get to see Batman in is just so cool. Like, how they introduced him, like, fear. Like, they really use that fear concept with Batman in the dark and in the shadows. This movie really shows that off. You thought that, like, the Christian Bale Batman used the fear thing. This Batman most definitely uses the fear, and he uses his damn fists to beat the shit and beat the hell out of bad guys in this movie, man. Holy hell. But his Bruce Wayne, I wasn't a huge fan of his Bruce Wayne, because when he's not in the Batman costume, he's basically Batman through this entire movie, I would say. We don't really get a lot of Bruce Wayne, because he is just at a low point in this movie. Like, he's really wondering, like, if he's doing the right thing, or if he's making anything better, or changing things, so he's questioning a lot of things. So we actually get to see him go on this journey and kind of grow, honestly. And he's 2 years into this being Batman, and he's like, I'm vengeance. And that's what a lot of people in Gotham call him, actually, is Vengeance. I honestly don't know if anybody calls him Batman. I don't really think anybody does. Like, they all call him Vengeance. And he's got the bat signal, and he works with, Gordon, but he's not friendly with the cops totally, because there's a lot of cops that don't like him in the movie, and they really show that. There's a scene, with the police. Man, let me tell you what, that shit was intense. And the trailers, they mislead you. They do. They did a good job with the trailers in this movie. They mislead you with how the movie actually kind of plays out, which I kind of like. I hate it when trailers ruin movies, especially because I like reacting to them. So, Zoe Kravitz plays freaking Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, which she's referred to as Selena Kyle in the entire movie. She was great. Her and Pattinson had amazing on-screen chemistry together. I thought she did a fantastic job playing Catwoman, the fighting, everything, and just the way she presented herself. I enjoyed her performance. I enjoyed all of these people's performances of these characters. Like, they were well written, well acted, everything. They all brought their A game, for sure. Paul Dano plays the Riddler. Oh my God, people. Like, Jim Carrey's Riddler, this is literally the complete freaking opposite end of the spectrum, this Riddler. Like, you got Jim Carrey's Riddler, and then you got Paul Dano's Riddler, who is a freaking serial killer. He is insane. He's crazy. He puts Batman through a test and a half in this movie. It is crazy. Like, I don't know how this movie did not get an R rating, to tell you the truth, because I feel like there were certain scenes, even though they did go away from stuff and imply what he was doing. Man, I just feel like they're pretty lucky that this movie didn't get a rated R, which I would have been okay with it being rated R, to tell you the truth. But yeah, Paul Dano's Riddler, fantastic. Like, Zodiac, literally. It's like they took the Riddler and the Zodiac and they made a new version of the Riddler. It was fantastic. Colin Farrell completely disappears in Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. The makeup that they did on him, you could not tell that was Colin Farrell at all. And in the trailers, that one scene where Batman turns and he has his grappling hook thing ready to shoot, and it's the Penguin, and he was like, "Come on, sweetheart!" Like, it's just, he totally disappeared in that character, and he's like a side character in this movie. But, like I said, he's very intertwined with what's going on. So, great. Man, Colin Farrell, that's one of the best performances I think I've seen you do in quite a few years. So, Jeffrey Wright plays James Gordon, and we get a lot of screen time with him and Batman because he's the one that is working with him with the police. The police don't really like Batman in this movie. And him and Batman, like, they kind of go at it sometimes in this movie, man. And, like, I just love that we get to see them do this detective work together. And I think it's really the first time in a live-action movie, even more than Bale and freaking his Gordon. Like, I really think they did a fantastic job with their two's chemistry and the story and everything. So, and Andy Serkis plays Alfred. He's not really in the movie that much, to tell you the truth. I was kind of surprised at how much he was in the movie. They do have a scene, though. Him and Bruce do have a scene together that I thought it was done very well, and it's a pretty big moment in the movie with the backstory of Gotham and his parents and everything. So, and then John Turturro plays Carmine Falcone, and he does a fantastic job playing Carmine. He does. He plays a freaking great version of him, because that guy usually plays funny characters. Like, he was the funny dude, the military secret ops guy in all the Transformer movies. So, just fantastic. The movie's great. It really is. The Batmobile's awesome. Like, it literally sounds like it has a freaking jet engine like in the back of it. It was insane. There's a chase sequence with the Batmobile. Oh my God. It might be one of the, if not, I don't know if it's the best. I'd have to really think about it and rewatch some stuff, but It was one of the best chase sequences with the Batmobile I have seen to date. That thing was scary. That Batmobile is scary as hell. The score, the Batman theme is awesome. It's just awesome. And the score in the movie was great. Now, there are a few things that I do have issues with the movie, and they're not major, and they didn't really affect my enjoyment level and my score really of the movie. But the Bruce Wayne thing, he was really non-existent in the movie for me. I felt like even when he was Bruce Wayne, he was Batman still. So that's a little nitpick. And the movie is 3 hours, and it's a slow movie because it's a detective noir comic book movie. It's not your crime thriller or your action superhero movie. This is a different type of comic book movie, but this works so well with Batman, and it's what he's been needing, to tell you the truth, with these live action movies. I do feel like, though, that there is a certain point in the movie where there are a lot of things that are resolved, but then we still have quite a bit of time left in the movie, and it kind of loses its, intrigue and intensity and stuff. And so I feel like maybe they could have trimmed, 15, maybe minutes or so off of this movie, because there are parts where it really comes to like a stop, like as far as the flow and the pace. But it doesn't ruin the movie. It didn't take me out of the movie, but I could see how it would affect other people viewing this movie, because it is 3 hours long. I could watch a 4-hour movie and not be bored if it was comic book related or entertaining. So, but yeah, those are just my few nitpicks about it. I'm excited about where this could go, because they totally leave it open for a sequel, and I'm pretty sure we're getting a sequel. I'm pretty sure they said they're actually going to do a sequel. I've even seen things online of Matt Reeves talking about wanting to do a very grounded, realistic take on Mr. Freeze. So that could be really cool based on what this movie turned out. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Like I said, it's one of my favorite Batman movies now. It's easily in my top 3 out of all of them. I don't know where, honestly. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. We finally got to see Batman do some damn detective work in an entire movie against a crazy, scary villain, the Riddler, everybody. So a 9 out of 10 for the Batman. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on the tube later, because I have spoken.